Thank you so much for always listening to this podcast every Monday and Friday. Please, if you have not done this yet, kindly subscribe and leave us a 5-star rating and also a review about this podcast on Apple Podcasts and other platforms on which you listen to your podcasts. Thank you.
Hello and welcome to Mirror Talk. We have moments where we just have to pause. Just pause and take a break and reflect on life. Remember, you are strong, you are enough, you are capable, you are blessed, and you are loved. Your moment of greatness starts now.
Hi, today I have a story to share with you. I had holes in my socks. My shoes had windows and doors in them. My winter jacket had seen better days. My life was as beautiful as my one and only stone-washed jeans. The only pair I'd been wearing every day for the past year. Through the streets, I walked my imaginary dog. No one noticed me as I tried to navigate my way through the crowded alleys. For 1 minute, I thought I was dead. I thought my spirit was just hovering around the streets. But then, a ball hit my head and I fell to the ground. I felt that pain. A teenage boy crossed the street, jumped over my body, and ran into the bush to pick the ball. What have I been reduced to? Have I become so invisible? These were the questions that were running through my head as I lay down on the wet ground. I thought to myself, the smell of the urine mixed with the burnt out cigarette sticks will never permit me to enter into the gates of heaven. I searched for my imaginary dog as I struggled to get up from the ground. The dog was nowhere to be found. Even my imaginary dog has left me, I said to myself. People kept on walking by in groups, laughing, drinking, and having fun. I was once like them. I used to have a life. I shouted in tears as I started to shiver. The fall had ripped my very fragile winter jacket. The cold wind kept blowing against my face as I walked up the streets. So I saw them across the streets, my friends with whom I used to spend my very good days, the ones I tried to impress, the ones under whose pressure I was suppressed, the ones I put first before myself. I waved and shouted as I ran towards them, but they could neither see me nor hear me. I could remember back then when I felt like I was an outsider. I tried all my best to feel among, to be one of the cool kids. The little lights I had at that time blew out while I was trying to fit in, trying to figure out myself, trying to find myself. Now, these friends don't even know that I even exist anymore. I sadly watched them as they were talking and laughing as if everything was okay, as if I was not missing from the group. I walked away from the dark cloud hovering over me. How did I get here? I must have been so blind to not see the red flags. Did anyone warn me? I must have been so deaf and stubborn to not listen to them. I stumbled a couple of times on the road because I could not really see clearly. Everyone around me was walking freely, and they all seemed to know where they were heading to. I kept on picking myself up every time I fell. Suddenly, I saw a little strange light burning at the other end of the street. Since I had no other place to go to, I tried to find my way towards the light. A little voice in my head told me not to go there. It told me that I was doing just fine on the path I was on. But that was obviously a lie. I was frustrated and I had lost all hope. It was a little chapel at the end of a very narrow alley. The abandoned path to the chapel was empty and rugged. I had to climb a broken fence, walk sideways in between two walls, and climb up a hill. The little light became brighter as I approached the chapel. I found the entrance to the chapel. The huge doors were wide open and the light was almost blinding. Are these the gates of heaven I've always heard about? I asked myself. Just as I was about to enter into the chapel, I heard a very loud scream from the dark alley and a voice said, "Come back to me! I own you! You will always crawl back to me anyways. I will give you everything you desire." That voice was very familiar. I have heard those promises before. I got everything I ever wanted, but they were taken away from me. As I stepped into the chapel, the dark cloud which had been hovering over me disappeared. The chapel was bigger than it looked from outside. There were huge pillars along both sides of the aisle. I could not see the roof. All I could see were just white clouds and bright lights. I felt ashamed of myself because everywhere was sparkling with gold and diamond. Everyone was dressed gorgeously and gloriously, and I was standing in the middle of the aisle in my dirty, stinking clothing, looking mesmerized. An old lady sitting on one of the benches looked at me. She smiled and faced another direction. I searched around for a minute to see if she smiled at me or at someone else, but there was no one else besides me. I shouted, "Oh, she can see me!" as I ran towards the altar. "Of course, we can see you," said another voice from above. I looked up and saw nothing else but the bright, glowing lights. "Welcome, son," said the voice. "What happens to you? Where is your light? What happens to your glory?" I bowed down because I could not look in the direction from which the voice was coming. I lost it all. My light went off. I was trying to please the world, but the world dissed me. "Have mercy on me. Please help me, Father." "What would you like me to do for you?" asked the voice calmly. "I want my light back. Please, light up my world. I am tired of the darkness that keeps following me. I have lost my identity. I want to feel loved once again. Please, please help me find myself." That is what I cried out as I tried to look up. At that moment, I saw a shining light descending from the roof. It was so bright to the extent that I lost my consciousness. I fainted. The beeping sound from various machines woke me up. I opened one eye after the other. All I saw were wires, drips, screens, and lights. I was in an hospital bed. I tried to raise up my head, but I could not because of some sort of casing that was around my neck. I saw an old man standing on the right side of my bed. The old man held my hand and said, "Congratulations, you got your light back. Use this chance to light up your world and that of those you meet on your path." Before I could open my mouth to talk, the old man smiled and disappeared. The beeping sound got louder. I heard some voices approaching me. I tried to move my body, but I could not because of the scorching pain in my shoulders and spine. I could also smell urine. "This is impossible. He is alive. We have already finalized the papers for the Messi killing, and his family had already agreed to donate all his good organs." The surprised nurse kept on talking with the doctor as they removed some wires and tubes from my body. I could hardly keep my eyes open, but my ears were very, very active. I will call this a miracle because no one can explain this medically. It could not breathe or live without the life support, but now it seems perfectly healthy, said a male voice I assumed to be the doctor. Some people get second chances at life. I wrote this fictional story on the 30th of March 2018 at a point in my life while I was reflecting on my journey of life so far. The message of this should be, you should not give up on yourself. Even when you feel like your light is off, when you feel like you're in total darkness, there is always a second chance. There's always a chance to light up your world. There's always a chance to get a purpose for your life. There's always a chance to find the meaning to your life. Thank you so much for following me on this journey of self-reflection, self-improvement, and self-awareness called Mirror Talk. This is a means for us to light up our words. Remember that I love you, I see you, and I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. I am eternally grateful for your time, your love, and contributions. You mean a lot to me. Thank you once again for listening and sharing with your loved ones. Don't forget to subscribe and follow this journey on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and other platforms in the description. Stay blessed.